What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Marcus Washington, and you're on the mark where we talk everything Falcons football. Let me make my thing a little bigger here. This is a true pop up right here, man. Um, Hold on. Yeah, we'll just do it this way. It's been a minute. Um, yeah, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long on this, man. I'm back, fam. I'm back. Yeah. So when Julio left here, I gave him 2 years to be on the podcast. Took him a little longer. He was still trying to play football. Hammies wouldn't let him. So now he's finally on a podcast. Um, and let me just say I hadn't heard the whole entire thing. The shit I've heard already, it makes my ass itch. First, let me get this out. Let me pull my Stephen A. Smith real quick. Julio Jones is arguably one of, if not the best player that ever laced up for the Atlanta Falcons. Good man, good family man, stays out of trouble. All right, let's get past all this bullshit. The shit that I'm hearing Julio Jones say right now, bruh, stop. Bruh, stop. The way you left here was classless. You're claiming that you tried to talk to Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank been saying for years, he's been trying to talk to you. You don't want to talk to him. And this is all on record. We ain't heard you say in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been looking for Arthur Blank. Not at all. But we keep hearing Arthur Blank say, hey, every year it seems like I've been trying to reach out to him. He don't want to talk. Hold on for a second, fam. Okay, I'm back. So now you get on this podcast, and just the clips I've seen. Boy, this is diabolical work. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, you tried to talk to him, but you couldn't. You wanted to know where you stood as far as the team. And they told you the new regime they're putting in, they basically can do whatever they want to. They're going to keep who they want to. They're going to get rid of, et cetera, et cetera. And you felt salty because you couldn't go up to the top and talk to the big man. So you asked for a trade. That in itself sounds fishy. Because Julio, you asked for the trade, my guy. You did. We did not put you out on the trade block. You asked for a trade. Now, I'm assuming if I'm a owner of a team and I have a top flight player on my roster and he wants a trade, I'm going to go down there and talk to him because I got to know what's up. So you mean to tell me Arthur Blank did not want to talk to you at all during this? You're the number one guy. You are the number one guy. Notice how when Matt asked for that trade, very quiet. and understandable at the time. Matt felt a type of way. We were going after Deshaun Watson. I'm pretty sure Matt was able to talk to Arthur Blank. Hey man, listen, I see which direction y'all going, man. Just go ahead and put me on another team. You made noise on your way out. And then you got worse immediately. You went to the Titans. You were so good in Tennessee. They cut you. They cut you. Then your next team was Tampa. By that time, you were already done. Then you went to the Eagles. People forgot that you was on the roster. Then you finally laced them up. You finally said, you unlaced them. You said, hey, listen, I'm retired. Now you're jumping on people's couches, having revisionist history about what happened here. You talk about, hey, I only got targeted 4 times in the Super Bowl. Bruh, do you know who the fuck you were playing? Do you know what Bill Belichick, his #1 rule on defense is? You take the best player out of the game, which is what they did. Even though you were targeted 4 fucking times, we were up 28 points. Well, 25, 28-3, but you get 4 targets. Man, and I like Julio, man, as a player. As you're not gonna get any kickback from me if you say Julio is the best Falcon that we ever had. Julio in 10 years was either the best receiver or 1B. And that was behind Antonio Brown. They were interchangeable during that time. But bro, I'm not gonna let you get on this couch and sit here and backtrack and say some bullshit that just don't even sound right. Now, one of these things that he said, he didn't like the fact that we got rid of Dan Quinn. He said it was the team. It was the players in the locker room, not Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was doing his job. So much so, we went 0-5 in his last year, and then he got fired. He should have got fired after the previous year. But let me tell you what Dan Quinn did. Dan Quinn gave up the reins of the defense to, ironically, the guys we have now. Raheem Morris and Aubrey. They didn't make this defense better immediately. The week that he gave up the defense and allowed them to call the defense was the very first and only time New Orleans, Drew Brees did not throw for a touchdown in his tenure there. The very next week, we sacked him 6 times. That was the very next week with different coordinators. And then the defense subsequently played pretty decent for the rest of the season. You know what the fuck Dan Quinn did the very next season when they gave him another chance? He took back over the defense. We went 0-5. They fired him. Now, I don't know how you don't look at Dan Quinn as being the common fucking denominator here. But here's what I'm going to do. All right, so we're gonna play this. We're gonna play the 3 clips. I can't find, for the life of me, I can't find the whole entire podcast. It came out a couple days ago, actually, like 3 days ago, or something like that. So let me play this. So they're gonna be small snippets, and that's probably best for my channel anyway. The way they be just throwing me.
The 2021 trade, and I know everyone in Atlanta, everybody and their mama, they want to know what was the discourse that led to that moment from your side of things?
You don't know the culture I got in the building, the togetherness I got in the building,
The respect from your teammates as well.
the respect. I mean, just across the board. They talking about trading me and what I'm doing, and y'all know what I'm doing.
When Shannon Sharp called you,
Correct.
when he was on the Fox show, did you know you was on live TV?
No, not at all. Like you calling me.
No,
It's like you calling me, and you say who? What? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let you know what I mean.
So here's the crazy part, right? Remember we had Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
And we used to be mic'd up, and when we used to be mic'd up for a game, what's the first thing we would do with one another?
We'll let each other know.
Hey, don't come over here talking that shit.
Hey, don't say I got this for sure.
Stay away from me.
Yeah.
Okay, now a couple of things. He says that he did not know that he was live on air. Now, knowing what we know about Shannon Sharp now, I'm going to keep it a stack. He might be telling the truth there. Here's the problem. Even though he did not know that he was on live TV, he spoke the truth because he figured nobody was paying attention. Nobody was listening to him but Shannon. So he told the absolute truth in that phone call. That's what makes it worse. So let's go to the actual motherfucking phone call.
We call? Okay, we are calling. We're calling.
You watching, Julio?
Really hope he answers here.
Julio, have the guts to pick up the phone.
What's happening?
Yeah.
All right.
Julio. Hold on. Let me put you on. Can you hear me?
I got you. This is your favorite uncle. What's going on, bro?
Man, nothing much. About to go meet up with my brother. What's happening with you?
Man, look. You want to go to the Cowboys, Julio? Or you want to stay in Atlanta?
Oh, man, nah, I'm out of there, man.
You
He's
out
out.
there?
Now, mind you, he's still under contract when he said this. He said, I'm out of there.
He's out of there.
Are you going to... Ideally, where would you like to go?
Right now, I want to win.
Okay.
Now, this man says on one side of his mouth, he didn't want Dan Quinn to leave. We were losing with Dan Quinn. The last 2 seasons we had him, we were fucking losing. His argument was, I felt the way when they let Dan Quinn go. We were losing, dog. Now he wants to go to a winner. Notice in none of this conversation does he talk about, hey, I tried to talk to Arthur Blank, blah, blah, blah. No. Now, this is with him not knowing that he's on national fucking TV, by the way.
Well, don't go to Dallas. If you go, you ain't winning in Dallas, Julio.
You already, man, listen, come on, man. You already know I know.
Okay.
Can you remind him we're on television
Ask
right
him
now?
why we wore the Dallas.
Listen. You know how people is, man, with all that going on with the picture.
Yeah.
And all that stuff like that.
Okay.
Man, I ain't never been on that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. That's good enough. Yeah. Julio, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for calling me back. We on air, but I appreciate you calling me, dog. You know I know my nephew was gonna pick up.
Oh yeah, nah. Yeah, I ain't going to Dallas, man. I never thought about going to Dallas.
Okay. I appreciate that, bro. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Now, another thing that he states is thanks for calling me, but Shannon clearly called him on air. So again, part of me will side with Julio on this. Julio probably did not know he was on national TV when this shit was going down, right? Okay, cool. Again, it makes it a lot worse for you, dog, because you were speaking how you really wanted to speak. You told everybody, hey, you up out of there. You want to go to a place where you want to win. But at the same time, you didn't want Dan Quinn fired. Make that fucking make sense. Listen, man, I've always told y'all. Let me get this shit off the screen. I've always told y'all, man, it's logo business over here. Now, could Atlanta have handled it differently? Maybe. We don't know what was going on behind closed doors. You know, we had a regime change. Usually with a regime change comes fucking changes. But who in their right mind? Arthur Smith comes in, Terry Fontenot comes in, and they decide they want to trade Julio Jones. Think about how stupid that sounds. This is why I know some of the shit Julio talking right now don't even make sense. Because at the time, Julio was still one of the top flight wide receivers in the game. So why the fuck would they come in and say, yeah, you know what, man, it's probably best for us to get off of Julio right now. Nobody would say that. So for Julio to try to make it seem like he was questioning his place on the team is fucking diabolical. Julio wanted out. He was the one that asked for the trade. Y'all remember that? He asked for the trade. And Atlanta facilitated it. One of the reasons being the clip that we just watched. And they did not send him to a loser. They sent him to Tennessee, who had a budding team at the time. Ryan Tannehill was on his second life as a decent quarterback after almost blowing it in Miami. Derrick Henry was coming too. You had Brown there. They didn't send him to a loser. So there's no way in hell I can look at Julio as being a victim in any of this shit. He wanted a trade. He got it. He went to a team that was going to the playoffs. What happened when he got there? He got cut. I guess Tennessee had an issue too, huh? Then no team was clamoring for him after that. That's a year after leaving us. So when I look at these type of, and I defend the logo to the death. I don't give a fuck who put on this uniform. I'm not just gonna let you sit around here and just say whatever you want to say. Bruh, come on, stop. Stop. I ain't about to let you do that shit. Now, let me go to this clip. Hold on for a second. Hold on, Monty. I'm gonna get to you in a second. Hold on. So let me turn this down real quick. Mute my music.
The whole thing was though they was talking about firing Dan Quinn, and after the game, I had a speech with the team. I'm like, y'all can't. This is not on this man. I'm seeing the locker room. I see how we are. Like I'm like, this is not on Dan Quinn. This on us. We got to fix this shit. Right, but the fans saying this, people saying that. Like I'm in here. This is work. Like this is our livelihood. We sacrifice so much to be successful here, and I'm like, this is not your problem. Dan Quinn is not our problem. Why we losing?
Dan Quinn was very much the problem, as I stated before. When he took over the defense, this team became immediate cheeks. When he let go of the defense, all of a sudden the defense got extremely better. Same goddamn players. Same players, bro. They got better when Dan Quinn was not calling the defense. Then the next year, he takes over the defense again. We're at the bottom on virtually every fucking ranking defensively, and we're 0-5. How is he not the problem? See, this is what the situation was. The reason why a lot of the players like Dan Quinn is because Dan Quinn wanted to be their friend. They knew they could probably get away with a lot of shit with Dan Quinn there. Y'all remember the third downs Julio was just taking off just the fuck because? Y'all remember that? Third down, Julio just take himself out the game. You're like, why the fuck Julio ain't on? Why is he not on the field on third down? Dude, Julio, after the second down, Julio would just run over to the side. But yeah, after second downs, nobody was telling Julio to get off the field. Julio would march his own ass off the field on third down. Straight to the sidelines. Nobody saying shit. So when we're losing, why fire Dan Quinn? It's on us. So I'm sitting here like, the difference between Dan Quinn here and in Dallas. Dallas keeps a short leash on their guys. Dan Quinn didn't pick the groceries for defense. That's number one. That goes to the Joneses. They picked Micah. They picked Diggs. They picked him studs. Same way in Seattle. And in Washington, they could have lost a lot of those games. They just had luck on their side last year, and they got Jaden Daniels, who is a stud. But you can't say on Undisputed, when you don't know that you're on air, that you want to go to a winning team. You want to go to a winner. And then you're campaigning for a fucking head coach that we got and we're losing. Mainly because of him. This is Julio talking out of both sides of his mouth. But now that he's retired, oh yeah, this is what happened. First of all, I don't want to fucking hear it after 4 years. You haven't mentioned the fans here since. The ones that rode with you through both contract negotiations. The ones that rode with you when we knew your hammies were falling off the bone. People still wear your jersey till this day. Shit, I got one in the closet right now. Fans loved you here, dog. When you left, it was like, man, fuck them and the fans. Now we backpedaling, and I just wanted to talk to Arthur Blank. You know, I just wanted to, you know, they was switching people over, man. And I just wanted to know where I stood, you know, on the team. You know, shut up. Where did the request come from? Where did the request for a trade come from? Now, I respect the fact that you went public talking about you weren't going to sit out. I think the last contract negotiation that we had with you. I respect that. I respect the fact that you didn't turn diva until it was time for you to leave. For the most part, we knew you as being a world-class wide receiver and you like to fish. Hold on, fam. Okay. Why my mic keep acting up? But yeah, you asked for the trade, my guy. You did. All this shit you talking about. I wanted to know where I stood. I couldn't talk to Arthur Blank, which again, one of y'all lying. And I don't think it's Arthur Blank. Because even with the Kirk Cousins situation, Arthur Blank was in those meetings. He didn't fucking have to be. When Kirk Cousins was talking about testing free agency and this motherfucker still got 3 years left on his contract, Blank was there. Blank don't look like a hard guy to find. In the fourth quarter, the motherfucker down on the field. So you mean to tell me you're the number one guy next to Matt Ryan? You're the number one guy and you can't talk to the owner? Stop, dog. Stop, dog. Meanwhile, the owner's still trying to talk to you now. But you don't want to talk. Make that make sense, bro. So I got an issue. But I will say this. I'm gonna play one more because they only have 3 clips. Man, I should find the damn podcast and we just go through it all together tonight. Because I do feel like Julio Jones does have charisma for a podcast. That's why I stated it after he left here 2 years ago. 2 years from now, he'll have his own podcast. But Roddy White said something I agree with 100%. 100%. And this was a guy who also was part of our Super Bowl run. And Kyle Shanahan. Hold on for a second. Here we go.
Like what led to your departure though?
What do I think?
Like in Atlanta.
When we first sat down with Kyle Shanahan, right? It was like he was like, all right, this is how I envision the offense, blah blah blah. We would literally go through practice scripts and I would get the ball at practice, right? And then when we go in the games, like he would sub me out. Like he would be in the headphones.
You can hear Matt. We've seen right now. We can hear him.
Yeah, we could hear him.
Oh, so
And
doing it on purpose.
Yeah, so I could hear him say, "Get Roddy out." I was like, "You gotta be real with me, man, because I'm about to lose my shit." He was like, "I just don't see you as like the top 4 options on the team."
Oh Lord.
I said, what? He was like, yeah. He was like, yeah. If the game was on the line, I would throw the ball to who? I would throw the ball to Jacob Tammy. I would throw the ball to Leonard Hankinson.
He ain't say that to your face.
This is what he told me. And then he said, and then I'll run a play for free to throw the ball to free. And then you.
He told you that?
He told me that.
Now, that might sound like some very cold-blooded shit. But I believe what he said. I believe Shanahan said that to his face. And I also believe Shanahan might have had an argument. Because after that, we really didn't hear about Roddy White. After he left here. And then we went on to have one of the best offenses in NFL history without Roddy White. So there might have been some method to that madness. And the reason why I believe it is because of how Shanahan calls his offenses in San Francisco. So I believe 2 things can be true. I believe Roddy White 100% in what he just said. And also I believe Kyle Shanahan probably really did believe he was the 4th option. Now, running the play for Tammy over Roddy is wild work. But again, look at the results after Roddy White. Look at that offense the next year without Roddy White. And this is not me putting shade on Roddy at all. But 2 things can be true at the same time. Let me get to some of these comments. Jay Black says, the Julio left was fucked up, man. No excuse for that. At least show the fans love that supported you. No, he requested a trade and said bye. You know what? I don't think and I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, y'all let me know. When he retired, I don't think he thanked the fans here. I could be fucking wrong. I know he went out his way. He was very careful and selective about who he gave. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. And even after he retired, Atlanta thanked Julio. Okay. Man, we gonna go through this retirement speech again. It's only 2 minutes and 50 seconds long. But I want to see if he actually thanked the fans. I could be absolutely wrong. All right, here we go.
In my retirement, started when I was 8 years old. Just a kid from Foley, Alabama. It was an amazing ride. I like to think my family, through this whole process, was my support system. Without them, none of this could have been possible. I want to thank my teammates in high school. I want to thank Ty Watson, Joel Williams, from converting me from running back to receiver my sophomore year. I want to thank Shane Jones, my receiver coach as well. And then on to college, man. Again, I want to say thank you to all of my teammates. Coach Saban was a great father figure for me for those 3 years in college. I want to thank Kurt Signetti, my receiver coach, Coach Cochran, strength and conditioning. Just hard work, you know. I know what hard work is, but just needed the guidance to hone it, to be the best version of myself. And from there, man, I want to thank my teammates in the league as well. Matt Ryan, thank you. It was a lockout in 2011. You went as far as taking me to your home, showing me the playbook, going to fields, going over plays. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Roddy Harry, Eric Weems, Terry Robisky, Mike Smith, man. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all just for being there for me. Again,
has he thanked the fans first? I'm just asking. He's thanking a lot of players.
And Roddy Harry teaching me the blueprint as far as a receiver, being a pro. Again, man, thank y'all. Y'all my brothers forever. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. I'm making this announcement today because of the city of Atlanta. Thank you, man.
Okay,
I appreciate y'all. It's nothing but love.
Right, cool.
I'm doing this on 404 Day. It was a hell of a ride.
All right.
Also
so
want to
thank us. I stand ultimately corrected. All right, cool. All right, let's get back. All right. So I think he left blank out. I kind of blacked out that first 20 or 30 first 20 or 30 seconds. But yeah, he did thank us. So I appreciate that. Then he went as far as to do it on 404 Day, which I forget every fucking year. All right, let's cut this out real quick. All right, so Monty says, and if I can remember correctly, he heard they were going to trade him first through his agent. They might have been taking calls. Let me look that up real quick. All right, so they weren't going to get that anyway. They were taking calls from other teams about Jones, and they were open to trading him for a first-round pick. They weren't going to get that for Julio anyway. While the Falcons were trying to be discreet, it was known that they were exploring trade options. Trade rumors preceded the request. Reports indicated that the Falcons were actively listening to offers for Jones from other teams, suggesting a willingness to explore trade. Jones' desire to leave. Jones himself publicly stated he wanted to leave the Falcons, which further fueled the trade rumors. Falcons' willingness to listen, the Falcons' willingness to entertain trade offers, even without a formal request from Jones, shows that they were considering a possibility for moving on from the star receiver. I do know there were sap calorie issues. Trade requests and subsequent moves. Jones formally requested a trade, and the Falcons subsequently traded him to the Tennessee Titans. Arthur Blank's disappointment. Falcons owner Arthur Blank was disappointed that Jones had asked to be traded, suggesting that the team had hoped he would stay. So yeah, like teams, listen, man, that happens all the time. Like there are teams that will call and ask about a player. Look at what's happening with Kyle Pitts. There are multiple teams right now calling about Kyle Pitts. Does that mean he's going to get traded? No. And the fact that Atlanta was asking for a first-round pick any fucking way, it kind of showed you they wasn't serious about trading him anyway. But, you know, it's one of those situations, man, where I think ego comes into play. You know, to say that you wanted to know what your role was going to be, and you're the top dog. Dude, nobody in their right fucking mind is going to come in here and say, well, you know, I think, man, I don't think you need to be here. That would be wild. When Kyle Shanahan said what he said to Roddy White, we did have Julio. Now, again, Tammy and some of these other players, that shit is madness. But again, that's Kyle Shanahan. He does that in San Francisco. Debo ain't there no more. Debo ain't there for a reason. Look at how they treat their receivers. Look at how they do their running backs. This is the Shanahan way. Shanahan and his daddy have been running running backs into the ground since the fucking 90s. I'm of the mind that family don't even view players as human. But Julio wanted to be gone. You know, you hear trade rumors all the time. Look at the Kirk Cousins trade rumors. We had to endure that shit for the last 5 or 6 months. This motherfucker's still here on the bench. I can pitch calls all day long because that's my obligation as a GM. That's my obligation as an owner. And that happens in every sport. That does not mean you're going to trade a player. Now, are there some players that have been untouchable for a while? Of course. We're talking about, I mean, just absolute generational talent, though. LeBron James is 40 years old. LeBron James goes to whatever team he wants to. Been like that his whole entire career. You know, there are some players that you just do not trade. Most players, though, yeah, I'm gonna call. Even if even if it's a what, I know they're not gonna trade this player. But man, I hear those contract negotiations ain't really going that well, man. Hey, listen, what's it gonna take for me to get him off your hands? Your boy talking about he don't want to be there behind closed doors. Yeah, we'll give him to you for a first. The fuck? Yeah, for a first round pick. Man, I ain't giving you no first for him. All right, have a good day. Jay Black says they're shopping Pitts. I mean, this is a very weird situation for Pitts because he's in his final year of his contract. So you're gonna take those calls because if your plan is trading him, you better do it now. Because if not, he's going to walk next year and you get nothing for him. Or if you want to keep him, you got to extend him and he's going to have the upper hand. So business-wise, I get what's happening with Pitts. If you're going to do it, you better do it this year so you can get something out of him. But if you don't and you decide to ride with him, the alternative is next offseason, you're either paying an arm and a leg to fucking keep him, or he's walking for nothing. So I can understand those calls right there. That's just the timing of it all. Jay Lana says, the main thing to me is he never bothered to apologize to the fans. The way he went out, whatever beef he had with Arthur Blank and the organization is one thing, but he at least, I guess, owes the fans an apology. My issue isn't even that. It's just the revisionist history 4 years later. And some of this stuff sounds skittish. Some of this stuff doesn't even sound believable. The way he's saying it, it's like, why would I don't understand? That's what it sounds like. Millie Mills says, but at the same time, Mark, AB still should have at least sat down with Jet and told his ass. Again, we're hearing two different stories. Julio saying that Arthur Blank, he couldn't talk to Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank's been talking about for years. He's been trying to reach out to talk to Julio. Julio don't want to talk to him. So I'm like, I don't know who's telling the truth, honestly, but I just cannot see Julio not being able to talk to Arthur Blank during this situation when he's one of the top dogs on the team. So I just can't see that. Monte Carlo says, did you see that banker tweet? No, I did not see it. What did he say? Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. Oh shoot. Okay, why is it still showing? All right. All right. I'm seeing a couple of tweets. Okay. Kurt Bankert says, how things ended was just dirty. And he's right. It was on the players. There's no right Dan Quinn could have done to fix the blunders that players kept having. Maybe call it on the GM for overpaying to keep certain guys there. Like Matt Ryan and fucking Julio Jones. Okay. One of my favorite teammates from my time in the league. This is who he always was, and we have about 15 Warzone dubs. This is a friend tweet, fam. Because if he's talking about the overpaying of guys, Julio was one of them. When Julio left, we were still on his contract and Matt Ryan's contract. They were not playing for us anymore. We were still dealing with those contracts. You had to pay Devontae Freeman because he earned it. So I don't. This is a friend tweet, man. I expect this from a guy who probably still talks to Julio. You're not gonna go against them. Both these motherfuckers ain't even playing in the league. Let me read this. There's no right DQ could have done to fix the blunders that vet players kept having. Yes, that's called fucking coaching. That's what a coach does. He fixed the fucking blunders that vets keep making. Bruh. Why weren't y'all making those blunders in 2016? Huh? How all of a sudden y'all just start making these blunders the last 2 years he was there? Were y'all just falling off the bone like that? I can show y'all 2 years after 2016, Matt Ryan's numbers pretty much mirrored his MVP season. That tweet is cap. Matter of fact, I'm about to fucking prove it to y'all. Hold on, let me go back here. And mind you, these are offensive players with Banker and Julio Jones. So, this is pro football. And mind you, the reason why Dan Quinn got this job was because he was supposed to be a defensive savant. 2019, 21st. 2018, 25th. We were 5th in 2017. That's when we got Steve Sarkisian, and the defense could not, the offense couldn't fucking move the ball to save their lives. 15th in these numbers have got to be wrong because we were 27th in 2016. 15th in 2016 and 22nd in 2015. Let me go find the real numbers. Okay. I'm looking. Most of this shit is actually coming from Falcon shit. Come on, show me the numbers, man. Actually, let me do it this way. Bear with me. There we go. So StatMuse has us 24th in 2019. Back a year. Has us 24th in 2018. This can't be right. It has us 24th in 2017 too. So I'm gonna have to find the raw numbers. I'll put it up in the communities post. But basically, our defense was not good under Dan Quinn, and he was a defensive savant, right? So who in the hell would Julio and Kurt Banker be talking about, the vets that were absolutely laying eggs? Even if that was the case, that's your head coach's job. Your head coach's job is to correct these things from happening, which Dan Quinn wasn't. By their admission, they kept doing it. But Corey says, that's what I was saying. Also, they should go ahead and trade Pitts, or he will end up walking because we won't pay the money he's asking for. Yeah, I think that's why it's heating up already. And you got Kirk Cousins didn't show up for OTAs, and neither did Kyle Pitts. I mean, they're fucking voluntary. The mandatory start next week. So yeah, like, I don't know what they're gonna do with Kyle Pitts. to be honest. If I were in Terry Fontenot's position, I got to ask myself a question right now. Am I willing to extend Kyle Pitts? If I'm not willing to extend him, I got to trade him. I got to right now. So that's a decision he's going to have to make. And he might have already made it. They might just be looking for a trade package that's best for them. I don't know. But if you're not going to extend him, you have no plans of extending him, then you might as well get off of him. Because if you decide to keep him for his last year, and let's just say he goes bonkers, you're going to have to extend him. Now, the other side of that is you keep him next year, and then Kyle Pitts plays the way he's been playing for the last 4 years. Kyle messes up his own value. You let him walk, So I don't honestly, I don't know which way they're going. I do know that they are pitching those calls, just based on the timing of it all. Monte Carlo says about them saying Pitts being injured is what happens before they trade you. It definitely. Most teams, I mean, they sometimes they say that shit just to keep you off the field. Especially if it's during the season, they'll put you on the injury report because that explains why you're not playing, even though clearly you're about to get traded. That happened to Devontae Adams. Y'all remember before Devontae got traded to the Jets, they put him on the injury report. Everybody knew he was about to get traded. Everybody knew it. But you just can't, have him sitting and, there'd be no reason why. But yeah, man, that's my whole take on the Julio Jones situation. Hey, man, Jet is one of the best receivers to ever play the game. So I'm not going in on Julio because he's a bad player. That would be absolutely fucking crazy for anybody to say. This man was arguably the best receiver for a decade. But how he's trying to spin what happened in Atlanta and we lived through this shit, bro? No, sir. And it's unfortunate that he can't say that he went somewhere else and balled out. And one of the reasons why I think Julio has to start taking some accountability for what he's done is because of what happened in Tennessee. You were so good, they cut you. Matter of fact, let me end it on this note. Hold on for a second. Let me just put this up for a minute. God damn it, all these ads, bro. So it's never fucked up as it pertains to logo business. Bro, that's what happened to you after you left here. You got cut. One, you couldn't stay healthy. The hammies were falling off the bone when you were here. They completely fell off the bone when you left here. Titans couldn't even trust you. They went on ahead and cut you after one season. Meaning they didn't even expect to get anything out of you after trading for you, bro. That's after you left here. Then where did you go? You went to two other teams. You were almost invisible on those teams. I'm about to keep it a stack before I get the fuck up off here. You were almost invisible in Tampa Bay. You were damn near invisible in fucking in Philly. Two out of the three teams that you went to, You were invisible. You were Sean Weatherspoon, my guy. Them facts. I ain't lied not one time. So that's why I have an issue when players leave here and they leave a pretty fucked up way. Listen, I understand contract negotiations breaking down. I understand all that stuff. I don't have an issue with how Matt Ryan left. Matter of fact, I respect it. And so did Atlanta. Atlanta could have sent him to a trash team. They could have sent Julio to a trash team. They sent both of them out of conference to contenders at the time. Tennessee was a contender at the time. They sent Julio there. They paired him up with Brown. They paired him up with Derrick Henry. When Matt Ryan got traded, he got traded to a team that was a quarterback away. So people can argue Atlanta fucked up this, Atlanta fucked up that, but look at where they sent these guys. They fucked it up after that. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't the same thing that happened to Julio happen to Matt Ryan too? Didn't Matt Ryan get cut? But see, when I was going through these wars, when this was happening against Ryanites, die-hard Ryanites, that, man, y'all don't even deserve Matt Ryan, man. Matt Ryan gonna go somewhere. He gonna win a ring, and he deserves it. He deserves it. Cause y'all don't appreciate a good thing. That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. See, he gonna do big things in Indiana. See, y'all done messed up. See, y'all don't know what it's like not to have a quarterback. Y'all don't know what it's like to be in quarterback purgatory. Colts cut him too. Now, ain't that irony? Two of what we consider the best players in Falcons history. You can't argue Matt Ryan is the best quarterback Atlanta has ever had. That's just a fact. Statistically, it's a fact. Julio Jones you can argue that he is the best Falcon that we've ever had. Both of them left. Both of them got cut the very next year. They were never the same. Two differences. We don't question how Matt Ryan left. I've rarely heard Matt Ryan talk about what happened when he left. But Julio got to do all this explaining 4 years later. Man, I didn't get this. I only got 4 targets in the Super Bowl, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not putting the Super Bowl loss on Julio. Matter of fact, when Julio makes that catch in the fourth quarter, that should have been curtains. That is one of the best catches I've seen in the Super Bowl. To be able to stretch out, catch that ball, maintain balance, and stay in bounds while that corner is draped over him, bruh, one of the best catches I've seen in Super Bowl history. But bruh, you can't get up here twisting stories like this. You want it out. Maybe you got here's the thing. Maybe you got word that Atlanta was getting calls for you. Maybe you caught wind of that. Maybe that made you feel a certain way. So you didn't want to be here. If that's the case, though, my guy, every team has that. Every team. You've seen teams try to poach Hall of Fame talent in the middle of the season. It's business. But if Atlanta, dude, the minute I heard Atlanta was trying to get a first round pick off you and you've been playing for 10 years, I know Atlanta ain't serious about trading you. Look at what they did with Kirk Cousins. Bro, these teams pitching calls, they like, you must be out of your fucking mind. You think we taking 20 mil off the top. We ain't paying no 20 mil off the top. Atlanta was already comfortable with Kirk Cousins sitting on the bench. If you want him, this is what we want right here. You paying 20 mil. Nah, we good off that. What is that gonna be on the bench then? Teams do this all the time. They were never gonna trade fucking Kirk Cousins. And if you want him bad enough, 20 mil. 20 mil. Man, that's too fucking high now. Y'all got to come down off of that. 20 million. Or he sits on the bench. Atlanta in pole position here. Next year start. So let's just say a franchise quarterback gets hurt. And you need a QB in a fix. Bet you they'll pay that 20 million in. Nobody was going to come off a first round pick for Julio in year 10 or 11. It just went, and them hammies coming off the bone. That was never going to happen. What's going on, Uncle Steve? He says, what's going on, brother? Man, you know you told AB not to call that man. Seriously, he should have gotten the call, but we needed to clear up the books. We were good. Yeah, we still held on to those contracts too. You know, I get contract negotiations falling apart, man. I understand that 100%. But for Julio, if that were the case, Julio should have just been real about it. Hey, man, listen, contract negotiations were hell, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't with what they were trying to get from man, so it just fell apart. We all know what happened with Matt Ryan's situation, and we all understand it. Terry Fontenot, Arthur Smith came in here. They tried to take a big swing. They missed. Matt Ryan felt the type of way about it. Hey, man, listen, I want out. And they facilitated the deal. But at that time, Matt Ryan was falling off a cliff. See, one of the bigger issues I have sometimes with especially when it came to the Ryanites, they were acting like Matt Ryan was in the prime of his career, which he wasn't. Matt Ryan was falling off a cliff. Some people would act like Julio was at the prime of his career. His hammies were falling off the bone. We on the 10-yard line, threatening to score. We asking where Julio at. Julio on the sidelines, eating sunflower seeds. And then the very next year proved it. Man couldn't stay healthy. Tennessee said, man, you know what? Get the fuck up out of here. No other team was knocking down Julio's door after that. These are just facts. Now, prime Julio, you wouldn't have been able to trade him any damn way. But that just goes to show Atlanta wasn't serious about trading him. They're talking about, hey, listen, we want a first-round pick for Julio Jones. Because if I'm another team, I'm looking at that, bro, I'm not giving you no first for no wide receiver. I mean, you're struggling to get first now for QBs. And they touch the ball every single snap. What did we trade? What did we get for Julio? That was what, a third? Shit, I done forgot what we got for Julio. And this is when he requested a trade. So we got a second round draft pick and a 2023 fourth round pick. But then we had to send a 6th rounder with Julio. So shit, we had to come up off something to get rid of Julio. So we got a second, a fourth, and then we gave up a sixth. You were never going to get a first rounder for Julio Jones at that time anyway. So again, I don't think, Atlanta wanted to trade him. They had to listen, they had to get the calls, man. They had to take the calls. That's just business. But again, on the other side of the call, if you're asking for something so crazy, that other team ain't gonna budge. But when Julio requested the trade, what could you do at that point? And I'm always gonna be a fan of Jet, man. To me, Julio's top 5 best receivers that ever played the game. He's one of one. I think he's the only player that has 200-300-yard games. If I'm not mistaken, he's got 2 of them. I know he's got one on Carolina. He just absolutely destroyed Carolina that game. Now, I mean, Carolina was trash, but still, 300? That man went to Sparta that day. To me, Julio's going to be top 5 until otherwise noted, because you got to think of the receivers that came behind Julio. And I'm about to give Julio his flowers after digging into him for this revisionist history. You look at players like Justin Jefferson. Dude, this new generation, some of these players consider Julio the GOAT. Now, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, did y'all ever see Jerry Rice play? I digress, but still, some of these receivers now look to Julio Jones as being the greatest receiver that ever played this game. I mean, the dude had everything. Height, hands, speed, route running. And let's be honest, there's a lot of plays where Julio had to make up for Matt Ryan's fuck up. There's a lot of them. Julio was playing offense, but sometimes he played defense too. And I forget who that was. Matt Ryan threw a pick. Julio hunted this boy all the way down. Prevented a touchdown. So when it comes to the skill, he's one of the best to ever do it. I can't let you moonwalk back to the logo and see what happened was no, sir. You said you was up out of here. You wanted to be with a winner. Then on the other side of your mouth, you're mad because we got rid of Dan Quinn. Eldrick says it was a Green Bay game. Yeah, they're like, listen, man, there are some players where, again, I love Mike Vick. My biggest knock on Mike Vick is and will forever be the fact that this motherfucker never studied the playbook. Damn, the dog biting. You wasn't even studying the book. So now I'm like, bro, if you would have just studied the, man, who knows where we would have gotten. And Michael Vick is still revered in Atlanta after that, after the dog fighting. Julio will too. I don't even think this is really gonna pierce the fan base, to be honest. People still a little salty about how he left, but again, Julio is still gonna be revered in Atlanta. It would be almost impossible not to be. Matt Ryan is revered now because he's retired. But I'm not gonna play it because they always come after my channel. But they talked about on Nightcap who was the GOAT on every team. So they got to us and Chad made a statement that I agree with. He said culturally, Michael Vick is the GOAT. Football wise, Matt Ryan would be our GOAT. And I'm like, I have to agree with that. I do. Culturally, if you live through that Mike Vick era, it's almost hard to give it to somebody else. Now, Penix has a very good opportunity with his career starting to maybe get to that level. But, bruh, I lived through that. Bruh. That was must-see TV. There were people that weren't even fans of the Falcons that were watching us because Michael Vick was playing. That was must-see TV. Now, Matt Ryan, statistically, we never had back-to-back winning seasons. Matt Ryan changed that. Matt Ryan has a Super Bowl MVP. Matt Ryan went to the Super Bowl. Matt Ryan should have won a Super Bowl. Statistically, he's got Mike Vick beat in everything except rushing. Eli says, I can't believe Julio only got 4 catches in that Super Bowl. Yeah, they were going to take Julio away. We had so many weapons that, I mean, our best weapon was Julio. So that's what Bill Belichick has always done. He's always taken that number one option away. So they were going to make sure that Julio wasn't going to go crazy. And that allowed Freeman, Coleman, Sanu. You know, we were getting busy in that game, you know, and for Julio to feel a certain way because he only got 4 touches. Like, dude, you do know y'all were playing the paper. You do know Bill Belichick was taking you out of that game plan no matter what. Millie says, give it a couple more years. Jet will be back in the... Yeah. I want him back in the building now. I'm just not going... hey, listen, I don't tolerate the moonwalking back to the logo. I don't. Some of Julio's shit sounds skittish. But to me, Julio will always be welcome back in the fuck. I mean, fam, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He was a first ballot when he left us. So just like Roddy White, you know, Julio Jones' career was better than Roddy White's. Roddy White's always welcome in the building. The way he left, left a sour taste in my mouth. I ain't even gonna front. But at the same time, he's arguably the best Falcon. How could you not keep him out? You know. Smart Ride says, great show, Mark, but Julio with 15.5 yak is the greatest Falcon. Yeah, dude, he's got numbers that just, you look at him, you like, Jesus Christ. They're off the charts. I remember that Carolina, dude, they were doubling Julio. They were doubling him. And man, if I'm not mistaken, they made the fatal mistake of starting 2 brand new corners. I'm gonna have to look that up. I know one corner was fresh off the block, and he was getting absolutely destroyed. I think they started 2 corners. I think it might have been due to injury, but Julio just absolutely torched him. Matt Ryan went off for like 500 plus yards too. I think he was 520 or some shit like that. Man, dude, the man got 300 off 12 receptions. Twelve receptions, 300. Keota said that defender got cut in my name. Bro. And it's still the let me go look. Okay. Man, some of these numbers don't make sense. So against Tampa Bay, put up 253. Green Bay, I remember that one. He was 259. Dude, he was at the 300 game. This man, he averaged 25 yards a touch. Green Bay, 23.5 a touch. 21.1 yards a touch. Man, some of these, bruh. Jesus. Even the I mean, and this is just pretty consistent. Even his 25th best game yardage wise was against Carolina. He put up 137 yards, 19.6. Oh, God. Jay Black says, I will say right now that Shanahan is never welcome in the building ever. Yeah, for a lot of reasons. And I think when his tenure is over in San Francisco, he will probably never be welcome back in that building also. When you look at the fact that they've been to 2 Super Bowls, they blew both of them in Shanahan fashion. When you look at the fact that Deebo Samuels is no longer there, they wanted to use Deebo as a running back and a wide receiver, but not pay him wide receiver money. When you look at the fact that the whole who was the quarterback that they traded all those assets to come up and get, only to trade him to the Cowboys. When you look at Christian McCaffrey, now I'm shocked Christian McCaffrey actually held up as long as he did in San Francisco, because the boy was breaking down every year in Carolina. Now it looks like he's back to that Carolina McCaffrey. Now he's got injuries on both knees. So I don't expect him to, I don't expect McCaffrey to come back and actually do damage at all this upcoming season. Trey Lance, appreciate that, Monty. He probably ain't gonna be welcome in the 49ers building either. They ain't winning no ring. They had 2 bites at the apple, couldn't get it done. And look at all the talent that came to Raheem Mostert. They didn't have Brandon. Now Brandon Ayuk got hurt last year after signing the extension, but look at how they did him in contracts. So I'd agree with that. Yeah, Shanahan is definitely not allowed back here at all. Dan Quinn is more welcome back here than he is. But Julio's always going to be, he's always going to be a Falcon. And I've had my disagreements with some of the Falcons that have come through here. Desmond Trufant, you're one of them. Vic Beasley, Tack. I mean, the list goes on and on. But still, man, love Julio to death, man. You just got to stop. You got to stop with this revisionist history that don't make sense, bro. You got to stop with that. I would further love a podcast with Roddy, with Harry, with Julio. I hope that's a permanent thing. I hope that is a permanent thing, because I like all of their personalities. I like listening to Harry Douglas talk. I love Roddy. Roddy is the quintessential Falcon, and he probably always will be. You think Roddy White, the next thought out of your head is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. and the way that he's rode for this team after his career. You know, and then we got some other guys, some other honorable mentions, you know. But I would love to see Julio on a podcast for the foreseeable future, because I've always thought with his type of personality, he's a laid-back guy. You know, he can obviously talk about his position because he's one of the greatest to ever do it. You know, they get on there, they talk about a lot of these young bulls that are coming up, and I would watch that. I would watch that religiously, to be honest. Matter of fact, I would definitely watch them over in it. This ain't no shade. This ain't no shade. This ain't no shade. I would watch them way more than I would DJ Shockley. Shockley sometimes to me sounds like a car salesman. And he was in the trench. Shock put on the uniform. He was in the trench. But to hear these three guys talk football on a weekly basis, man, that I think they would do real well. They would do real well. But with that being said and done, fam, your boy is up out of here, man. We need to get to the business of talking about what's currently going on. We touched on Kyle Pitts a little bit, but with mandatories coming up, there will definitely be a lot to talk about, especially with Michael Penix getting all the first team snaps. He was already jumping off the page, you know, last offseason. He was already jumping off. So now that, you know, he gets all of the touches, I don't really expect there to be any news about Kirk Cousins. I could care less if he shows up for mandatories or he don't. We're already paying him. I really don't matter to me at this point. Before I go, man, listen. Kobe Bryant, my guy. I love the enthusiasm. I do. You got to make the team first. You got to make the team first before you go after an MVP. You got to. Like, I don't mind you going after Lamar Jackson. You got to have some credentials about you, bro. You got to make the team first. I like the dog mentality. I don't know what your beef is with Lamar. I have no idea. I love it, though. But let's make the team first. All right? We make the team first. We start making some moves. Then you can post shit like that. But with that being said and done, fam, your boy is up out of here. Y'all have a great weekend, man. I will holla. Peace.